Okay. I was stupid and I thought I could still mirror my computer to my TV, but it's not an Apple TV, so apparently I can't do that. I'm fully committed to the bit of this video. I hope you know. I'm in my shirt. I'm in my Judgment Day hat. Rest in peace. I have my little tchotchkes set up. So I hope you like a long video. Crack open a warm beer from the back of your car like I am, and let me go through my Roman Empire. I'm going to preface this with saying I have done next to no research about this. So there's some things that that's not going to be the most accurate. It's just me talking. That's why this is an unlisted video, because I don't want serious, professional wrestling fans to come at me. So let's go. Let's talk about kayfabe. Kayfabe is the story, essentially. I'm pretty sure, again, no research was done on this, but I think early days of wrestling, it was produced by, or there was some credit to kayfabe. And that was essentially the writing team. It was the fact that wrestling is not real. There are things that will overlap. There are some wrestlers who are married in real life that acknowledge the fact that they are married in the storyline. There's a lot of things that are kind of serious, kind of real, kind of not, and then they take that. And then there's stuff that is just fully fabricated. So we'll be going over some of the both things. Here's the storyline stuff, here's the real stuff. But the term for that is kayfabe. It is now common knowledge that wrestling is not real, but the reason that they came up with kayfabe was because they didn't want people to think that wrestling was fake. And it was a big thing. There's a lot of wrestling companies. The main ones, WWE and AEW, or All Elite Wrestling. Really, we're only going to talk about WWE, but we do have a mention of AEW, so I've, thought I'd throw that in. We're going to start with our people. We're going to start with our queen, Rhea Ripley. She was the NXT UK Women's Champion, the NXT Women's Champion, that's over here. It's over at the Performance Center in Orlando. The Women's Tag Team Champion, the Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, and most recently, the Women's World Champion. She got married a month ago. Month and a half ago. In real life marriage. Then we have Dominic Mysterio. He is the son of Rey Mysterio. He has been seen on TV in wrestling-related things since he was a very small child. We'll get into that. So his dad is Rey Mysterio. He was a tag team with him once he finally debuted as a wrestler. He was involved with some storyline stuff before he debuted as a wrestler. We'll get into that. And then obviously he was involved in a storyline when he was a kid. But once he debuted, he was a tag team with his dad for a long time. And not a long, but whatever. And it really kind of helped build him up as one of the talents. He's a 2-time NXT North American champion. He was never on NXT, so I also did not preface this. Within WWE, there are 3 shows. NXT is what is considered their developmental brand, so it's usually people who are done with the training, the Performance Center training. It's televised, but it's kind of their first step into actually being on the main roster, which is Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. Those are the main 2 shows. NXT is the beginner show. But he was never on NXT, but sometimes wrestlers that are drafted to one show will make special appearances and kind of shuffle titles around that way to sort of help bring some views to NXT to kind of see how they interact with the main roster talent, essentially, is kind of what I think. He also got married in real life, at the beginning of this year. Liv Morgan. She's a 2-time women's tag team champion, and she is the current women's world champion. Buddy Matthews, this is very, like, minimal, but he is Rhea Ripley's real-life husband. He was in WWE before, now he is with AEW, so that's why I mentioned the separation. This is him in AEW. Aleister Black also, or he's Malachi Black with AEW, but he's, whatever. But this is their faction. When he was with WWE, he was called Buddy Murphy or just Murph. I have a bonus storyline about him. He and Rhea, obviously, this was like right after their engagement, I think. But they got married again very recently. Then we have Liv for Brutality. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley were a tag team for a little bit. Originally, Rhea Ripley was she was a tag team partner with, Nikki Cross. I was like, what the fuck is her name? Nikki Cross. It was a weird tag team, but like, it was kind of cute, but like, Nikki was like, her character was real weird. Rhea's character has really never changed. It's evolved, but it's never been a super, like, except when she first started, and then once she kind of debuted her, like, signature look. This action figure is actually, like, kind of beginning of her transformation into who she is now. But this is still, like, this is very accurate to her, like, real life interests, versus some people are characters that that's not how they are in real life. This is very true to her. So they were a tag team for a little bit. People are still to this day obsessed with them, and with this current storyline, they're like, y'all, just get together, just kiss already. There was a lot of queer baiting in this tag team, and we loved it. Some people don't like queer baiting. We loved it with Liv for Brutality. Liv ended up turning on Rhea. I don't remember what happened. Could not tell you, but shit happened, so there's been some tension. But this was like last year, I'm pretty sure. This was like end of 2021, early 2022, somewhere in there. Because then we get the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day is a faction that was established April 2022. I witnessed, oh my God, I was laying in Seth's bed when this happened. So originally, it started with the wrestler Edge, who is now with AEW, and Damian Priest. We'll get more into him. He's my man. He's my man. So started with them. Rhea joined them. That's where we were getting like mask suit lesbian Rhea Ripley that was everything to me. Then very quickly, Rhea and Damian kicked Edge out of the faction. He was the leader. They overturned him and put Finn Balor in his place. So Finn Balor is this guy right here. We don't really care much about him. Like, I don't care. Then they had a feud with Rey and Dominic Mysterio. So there was a lot of like tag team, like back and forth with that, until they ended up snatching Dominic away, creating this feud with his father. So there were like some then matches against each other, and there were so many storylines, or like there was this long storyline of Rhea and Dominic basically just tormenting his real life family. Like, mom was there, sister was there, like everybody was involved in this storyline. Then they added in JD McDonough, who looks like a Funko Pop. Like, he just has a big ass head for no goddamn reason. And then another wrestler, R-Truth, like kind of self-inserted himself into the faction. Very silly stuff. He's hilarious. Like, if you don't even have to know anything about wrestling to just see how hilarious R-Truth is and how good he is at, his character is so serious, but is so stupid. And it works because he's just clueless, but he always means so well. So there were points, they have shirts where, they have all of their names on it, and then it has like a sticker that he added like R-Truth to it. He still to this day probably thinks that he's like at 8:00 here in, I don't know, whatever time it is. I'm hoping I'm done filming this by the time 8 o'clock hits so I can watch Raw, because after what SummerSlam was on Saturday, tonight's going to be messy in the best way. And I almost anticipate R-Truth coming out and being like, oh, I'm the new leader of the Judgment Day. Like, be stupid. And then they also added Carlito, but it was kind of like a weird thing of like, is he a part of it? Is he not? He's just kind of like a prospect, essentially. So that's the Judgment Day. Then we got Baby Daddy Damian Priest, also known as Punishment Martinez when he first started wrestling, aka Senior Money in the Bank, El Campeon, or Bisexual Undertaker, or Cuntertaker. Undertaker is another like iconic wrestler who's since retired like 6 times, but Hall of Famer Undertaker. People have started to call him the Bisexual Undertaker. It works. Like, look at that suit. He was the Ring of Honor World Television Champion, NXT North American Champion, United States Champion, a 4-time Undisputed Tag Team Champion. Undisputed, so they used to have the Raw Tag Team Champions and the SmackDown. So each show had their own Tag Team Championship belts. And then a whole other lore. I honestly don't even think I can make a PowerPoint detailed enough about the bloodline. But anyway, Roman Reigns and his entire fucking family, it's a massive family. They're like just generations of wrestlers. There was a point where his cousins, Jay and Jimmy Uso, each had won both sets of tag team titles, and Roman Reigns had won both championships for Raw and SmackDown, so they combined them into undisputed titles. So undisputed tag team champion, so that there's only one tag team champion belt, or like one set of them amongst both shows. And he was the Money in the Bank winner. Money in the Bank is a pay-per-view. It's a ladder match. They've got belts, or they have the briefcase with a Money in the Bank contract in it. So whoever wins this, it's like 5 or 6 people in each match. Whoever wins it, they hold on to this briefcase, and at any point for the following year until Money in the Bank the next year, they can challenge anybody for a belt. They just say, cool, I'm cashing this in. This is my chance to have this title. So he does that at WrestleMania. Yes. Because my other daddy, Drew McIntyre, won the belt. He also, I have poster behind me from when he won the whichever championship it was at WrestleMania in 2020 during COVID. He won it, lost it, whatever, has been trying to get it since. So he won it for, I'm not joking, I think he had the title for like 2 minutes. And Damian Priest comes running down saying, I'm cashing this in. He fucking slams him to the ground. Done. So when I bought my action figures, this belt came with my Seth Rollins because he was the first one to get this belt. I took it off of him and I put it on Drew. Anyway, so then he became the World Heavyweight Champion. He also had storylines with Bad Bunny, both as a tag team partner. I saw it at WrestleMania in Tampa. I saw Bad Bunny wrestling. Hot. He also wrestled at the Royal Rumble. And then Bad Bunny came back and had a feud with Damian Priest, which was just kind of fun and great. Now we get into Mommy and Don Dom. After they ripped Dominic away from his family, it was very clear that there a little something happening, you know? Lots of like whispering in the ears, lots of like very dominant mommy situation type deal. This has been a fan favorite. The fans are very upset by what happened, but like it in a delusional way, like in a way that I look at Twitter sometimes and I think, you know, this isn't real. Like, I love being delusional. I love having your little ships and whatever, but like people are kind of getting a little crazy with it. But this is where we get, you know, mommy is always on top. So lots of very, very, you know, dominant, submissive vibes from Mommy and Dom Dom. And look at him. He loves it. This is from literally like a week ago. This is from, I think, last Monday. Then we get into Daddy Dom and Liv. So Liv injures Rhea backstage. She throws a fucking chair at her head and then like slams her into a wall, busts her shoulder, and she was out for months. I don't know. I don't think that she needed to be out that long. I think it was just kind of perfect timing of like wedding prep, whatever, some recovery, sure, but like I think it was, I don't know. But Rhea had the title belt. She had the World Women's Champion belt. She had to give it up because she couldn't wrestle. So she never lost her title in a match. She had to give her title up. Then they did some sort of tournament, and that's how Liv Morgan won it. Since then, I saw this on Twitter recently, none of the matches that she had to defend her title were won fairly. None of them were won fairly by her. So she goes after Daddy Dom and tries to like swap it up. We're like, oh, he's the masculine one. He's the dominant one. She is constantly throwing herself at him, like forcibly kissing him, bribing him. She buys him a PS5, and there's this whole like bit about like he just wants chicken tenders, and so she sends him like these platters of like McDonald's chicken nuggets, and Twitter's like blowing up, and they're like, he didn't say chicken nuggets, he said chicken tenders, but like it's this whole thing causes drama within the Judgment Day clubhouse because Rhea is off TV, and there'll be like little like clips of like, oh, like Damien's talked to her and he said, oh yeah, you know, she said this, or Dominic's like, oh yeah, like I talked to her the other day, but like she is not seen. So Liv is taking advantage of this, and everyone else is like, Dominic, you have to like stand up to her, like you have to be like, no, like I don't want you, whatever. She's crazy stalker. Like at one point slips him her hotel room key. Like there's so much happening with this that it's uncomfortable, because even though you know it's storyline, it's like it's well written and it's well acted. It's very well acted, and it's uncomfortable. So she keeps like throwing herself on him, and then like, you know, she jumps out of the ring or gets pushed out of the ring onto him multiple times. She starts kissing him and like straddling him or like holding him on top of her. Again, it's uncomfortable because he is very clearly like not pushing her away, but not giving into it, is like embarrassed, but he's more worried about getting caught. And she like they've really latched on to using social media to continue the storylines off camera, and it's really good. They've done it. Drew and CM Punk have honestly been the most incredible at it. So, oh no, my picture didn't show up. Boo. So this is where we get into like some like old story. So back in the day, there was a situation of Dominic Mysterio's like who his father is, because we had Rey Mysterio, who is obviously his father, but then we also had Eddie Guerrero, who was like, oh no, I'm Dominic's dad, and there was a whole thing, and they had a ladder match for the custody of Dominic. And it's great because if my picture had shown up, I don't know what happened to it, I'm real upset about it. There have been a lot of comparisons to Eddie Guerrero and a wrestler named Chyna with Dominic and Rhea. Like this picture that I was supposed to have is like side by side like comparison of their relationship in the story. So a lot of people had made jokes of Rhea and Liv were going to have a custody of Dominic ladder match. Then we get to SummerSlam, which happened on Saturday. So it started off with Liv versus Rhea. Dominic comes out with Rhea because he's her Latino heat. And they've made up, because once she came back, she was like, okay, Liv, you and me, we're going to fight this out. Like, come on, bitch, let's go. And she's mad at Dominic for a little bit. She also, I hope this happens tonight. So Jey Uso another wrestler, we talked about him briefly. He shows up. Rhea has like thrown this bouquet of flowers out the door, pretty much hits Dominic and Damian with it. So Dominic and Damian are standing out there talking, and Jay comes up and he goes, so I hear Rhea's single. And like there've been little like flirting like things, not like seriously, but like teasing flirting, or he'll be like, tell Rhea to hit me up, like whatever. And so he's like, oh, I heard she's single, and Dominic's like really uncomfortable, and Damian's just kind of like egging him on with it. And he's like, listen, tell her to hit me up. I'll take her to Waffle House. It's cheap. I know you haven't probably been there, but it's good. You'll eat real good. And he's just going off. And then there were memes about Rhea and Jey Uso at Waffle House. I hope he takes her to Waffle House today on the show. Like, because the memes, as soon as this fucking interference and this fucking bullshit happened, the memes about Jey Uso were hilarious. So there's a point where Liv brings out a metal chair. She brings out a steel chair, which in the type of match that they had, if anyone had used it, the match would have ended in a disqualification and Liv would have retained her title. So we were all like, oh, because that's the thing that happens with some matches, is if the winner or the person who has the title, the champion, is like, I'm not going to win this, they will end it in a DQ so that they get to retain their title. And it's shitty, but it's sneaky and they be doing it. So she brings it out, but she doesn't use it right away. Rhea takes it and she has it back. She's about to hit her, and Dominic pulls it and he stops her and he's like, no, you can't win like this. Like, you're not going to win your title if you do this. And so we're all kind of like, okay, smart man. He's taking care of mommy. It's okay. Nah. He fucks it up. He interferes and then he walks out with Liv, passionately kisses her. He and Rhea have never kissed. Like, she's whispered in his ear. She's licked his face. They haven't kissed. He and Liv have now kissed on TV like 6 times. Or she's kissed him. This was one, he like grabs her. They're like making out. Like, it's a kiss. It's a kiss. So then she's betrayed and she's here. My problem with this, I don't have a problem. I've never liked Dominic Mysterio. I want her with Damian. Like, they're called the Terror Twins. What I would give to be their unicorn. Or her and fucking her real husband. But I don't love this. She's phenomenal at acting. Because you can even see in her face, like, it kind of goes from she's upset, she's mad, she's like fighting with like what she's feeling, but it's a big feeling. I'm interested to see how she comes out tonight, because I fear that they are going to make her look weak. Like, her crying over this man is not mommy. And we've had a lot of wrestlers who they get defeated and then they come out different. They come out changed. We've seen it with Baron Corbin. We saw it with Seth Rollins. Like, we've seen it. Becky Lynch. Like, people have come back from an insane defeat broken. But this is Rhea Ripley. And so I think she should have been angry. I think the sad, like the broken heart, like over a man with a mullet and a cowboy mustache. I've cried over worse, but I'm not Rhea Ripley, so whatever. But then we get into Damian Priest's match defending his title against Gunther. We all knew Gunther was going to win. We knew he was going to win. He's a monster. But like, so Finn Balor comes out. And you can also see at the beginning of the match, because Damian has witnessed what has happened with Rhea's match, and he knows his faction is imploding. So you see it on his face when he's out there. And again, this is all fake. This is all scripted. This is all predetermined. Reminder. But you can see in his face that he's thinking about what has just happened to his best friend and his teammate, and he's worried about it. So then Finn Balor shows up in the middle of this match and is trying to distract him, or trying to be supportive, but he's a distraction. And then he also betrays Damian and causes Damian to lose this match. Again, Gunther is a better wrestler, but we're gonna blame Finn Balor on this one. We're not gonna blame wrestling techniques or anything like that. So now both of the Terror Twins have been betrayed by their own faction. My little bonus, we had a storyline with the Mysterio family back when Murphy was in WWE, where Murphy was in a storyline dating Dominic's sister. So there have been pictures that have gone around from what's it called? The Hall of Fame ceremony, where they're all sitting next to each other. And so it's funny to be like, okay, this is Rhea's real life husband in a storyline dating Rhea's story boyfriend's sister. It's just silly, goofy, funny. But that's my lore about what happened. If y'all have any other lore things that you're like, who is this person? What is this? What is happening? Please let me know, because this was actually very fun. Again, I am by no means a wrestling expert. Do I happen to show you